right, you should be on page 29 in your math book as I'm going over this so that when you are done working together with me in your math workbook, you can then work on page 31 and 32 by yourself. So I hope you're paying close attention while I'm here because you'll be on your own on the next page. This is asking us to write the value. What is it worth of the underlined digit? What is the value? So we're not saying the place value, we're saying what it's actually worth. And they've underlined the 4 here. Now we can do this two ways. We can say that is the same as 4/10, or we could write it as the decimal 4/10. Let's try number 5. Here we have a 9 in the second place behind the decimal, which is the hundredths. It's worth 9 hundredths, or we'll put a 0 where that 2 is, because we're just talking about the value of the 9. And 9 hundredths is like 9 pennies. That's what it looks like. Pause the video and try number 6 and 7 on your own. Then push play to see if you've gotten it right. They're trying to trick us here on number 6. This 3 is a whole number. So what's the value of that 3? Well, it's 3. That's what it's worth, 3 ones. Number 7, they put a 7 in the thousandths place. So I can write this as a fraction. Can you see that? Let me get a little closer. I can say 7 thousandths, or I could write 7 thousandths. That's what it's worth. Again, they want us to practice and really master standard form, word form, and expanded. Here they gave us expanded. Now this might look crazy to you, but I assure you it is very easy when you think about it. Look, here's a 4 times 1. That means it's worth 4. So we have 4, and then it turns to fractions, pieces. So 4 and 9 in the 10ths place. Let's draw our places. We've got a 9 in the 10ths place. Oh, do you see hundredths? No. We have tenths and we've got thousandths, but no hundredths. So there's no hundredths, but there's an 8 times the thousandths place. So there's an 8 there. That was a little tricky, wasn't it? Now that we've written it in decimal, how do we say it? 4 and say the number you see, 908, and then the place value it's in. 4 and 908 thousandths. Write that in. 4 and 908. Don't forget that word. It's so important. Pause the video and you try to do number 9 on your own, and then unpause to see if you were correct. Let's start with expanded. There are 0 ones or whole numbers, so I'm going to just leave that alone. There is a 1, and there is a 2, and there is a 5. Now, what are those multiplied by? That's what we have to decide. 1 is times 1/10. 2 is times 100th, because that's the 100th place. And this is 5 1,000ths. Word form, 125 thousandths. Ooh, my favorite questions and your least favorite questions. Compare the values of the 4 in this number. These 4s are side by side, which means one is 10 times bigger and one is 10 times smaller. I think I'd like to show off a little bit and say it this way. The 4 on the right, that's this one here. the 4 on the right is 1/10 smaller than that 4 on the left. And then I'm going to come over here and say that that 3 on the left is 10 times bigger than the 3 on the right. I'm going to say 10 times. I'm going to just put this bigger. So you can describe the number on the left or the right when you get those kind of questions. I don't even know if I can say this word. This is one funky little creature. The pygmy jerboa weighs 132 thousandths pounds. This thing is so tiny, it doesn't even weigh 1 whole pound. This number, write it in standard form, no problem. I'm going to put my decimal and my 3 place values that I've learned, and I'm going to read it. 132 thousandths. 132 thousandths. My 2 has to be in the thousandths place. 132 thousandths pounds. Wow, that is really light. Here is called reasoning. This means you have to take what you know in math and what you know about life and really think and explain things. Now, is this number the same as this number? Interesting. 9 and 540 thousandths, 9 and 54 hundredths. Are they the same? Well, let's talk about it. Does this number have 9 holes? Yes. Does this one? Yes. Those digits are the same. Does this number have 5/10? So does this one. Does this number have 4 hundredths? Yeah, so does this one. Does this number have 0 thousandths? Yeah. Well, guess what? So does this one. Even if you don't see the 0, it still doesn't have any. Yes, these numbers are the exact same. Adding zeros to the end of a decimal doesn't even change it at all. Look at this. They want us to dig deeper. That means they want us to think. Write 3 decimals that are equivalent to this. That's tough. First of all, we've got a whole number because it's multiplied times 1. We've got 6 and a 4 in the tenths place. We can write it as 6 and 4/10. We can write it, oh, that's not a decimal. They want decimals. Oh, no problem. 6 and 4/10 and no hundredths. 6 and 4/10 and no thousandths. So that's 3 different ways I could write this decimal, isn't it? The zeros don't matter.